everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Ryan from Movies with Ryan, and this week's video is a little different. Huck over at Huck's Pop Culture Cafe kind of issued a challenge to the movie community, collectors, and the YouTube community with just a little different challenge. I'm going to let him explain real quick. Check out this little video clip.
The challenge is, say you're going somewhere and tells you you can only bring one movie for every letter of the alphabet, and you can add numbers as well. So, you know, some movie titles start with numbers. You're allowed one of those as well. So you got to dig into your movies back here. It has to be something you own. So you have to go with that and then grab it.
So that's the challenge, folks. If you were told you need to get up, you need to go, you can pick one title from every letter of the alphabet. And that's it. That's what you got to do. That is the challenge. And you can pick one number as well. There's also a little caveat, was not included in that clip. You have 5 cheats. Usually the cheat is going to be for either you don't own something in a certain letter, or you've got a box set that has multiple movies in it. So like A for Alfred Hitchcock's presents, you know, one of his box sets that has multiple movies. You can use that as a cheat. And I think in mine, I only used maybe 2 cheats total, 3 at the most. But we're going to get into this. But as a reminder, if you like movie-related content, collector content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Letterboxd. So we're going to get into this. A to Z plus one number. Let's see what I picked. Starting with the number first. This is where I've kind of used a cheat. It's not really a cheat. I've actually picked 2 titles. Now, they both technically are the same style of movie. One is my favorite movie in this genre, and the other one is just one of my favorite movies, and I had a hard time picking. 13 Assassins, The 300. 13 Assassins taking on 300 plus soldiers, 300 Spartans taking on basically the world. Both love these movies. If I had a choice, I would probably go with 13 Assassins. Just because the way I laid this out, I kind of picked stuff from different genres, different actors, some of their best movies, my favorite movies. And that one was probably the hardest out of all of them, even though every letter was hard because there was multiple things. But my starter, 13 Assassins. I'm going to go with that for the number. Moving on to A. A comedy. I love this comedy. Finally got a Blu-ray. Accepted. Justin Long, Jonah Hill, very early Jonah Hill, a few other people that's in here. Love this comedy. Always can throw this on and have a good laugh with it. So A, accepted. B. B was hard. B's got a lot of good titles. But probably my favorite Nicolas Cage movie that needs a criteria, and my favorite Scorsese movie, Bringing Out the Dead. Love this 90s burnout EMT working in New York, dealing with demons and ghosts and trying to basically get out of the job. Love this movie. Nicolas Cage, Ving Rhames, Tom Sizemore, John Goodman, great cast. If you've never seen Bringing Out the Dead, I would recommend it. And if I had to, this would be my B that I would take with me. Moving on, C. No questions asked. My favorite movie of all time, The Crow. I've seen this I don't know how many times over since it's been released in '94. I went to the movie theater multiple times and seen this. Easily, hands down, one of my favorite movies. My favorite movie, I should say. And if I didn't have this with me, I don't know what I would do. C for The Crow. D. D's got some good choices in it too, but if I had to take one with me, I think I would definitely take this very, very nice Drive 4K box set. See, Drive. D for Drive. Love this movie. Again, I was trying to pull different actors, different genres. Ryan Gosling. This is one of his best movies, one of my favorite movies of his. I'd have to have that, so D for Drive. Kate Winslet, Jim Carrey, E. Can't pass this up. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I love this movie. I mean, just the dealing with relationships and loneliness and wanting to be with somebody. It's done very well. The supporting cast is fantastic. And who wouldn't want to take this cool steelbook with them? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind for E. F. F, I don't remember was hard, but this has got two heavy hitters in Hollywood, and it's by far one of my more favorite movies. Noir thriller, I guess you could call it. It's not really a thriller, but Fight Club. Can't go wrong with Fight Club. Of course, I thought about American History X for A to get Edward Norton in there, but I didn't have anything with Brad Pitt, so I figured Fight Club would fill that gap, and it's a very good movie. So, F for Fight Club. G. Not too many G's. Ghost in the Shell, maybe, could have been a choice, but I'm pretty sure neither one of these actors are in any other movies that I picked. And it's just a classic movie. I watched this for the first time last year. I fell in love with it. Robin Williams, Matt Damon, Good Will Hunting. A good cry, a good movie. Had to pick this for G. Good Will Hunting. H. We're going to go back to Asia. The first movies that really got me into Asian cinema before Jackie Chan, which surprisingly, I have no Jackie Chan in this stack. And when we get to the letter, I'll remember why. But H. John Woo, Chow Yun Fat, Hard Boiled. Cannot go wrong with this movie. The shootouts in this thing is awesome. The action in this movie is awesome. And it's John Woo, Chow Yun Fat, like at peak awesomeness. So H, Hard Boiled. I could have went with Inception. I thought about going with Inception to get a Nolan movie on here because I don't think I have a Nolan movie on here. But I decided to go with a very, very dark comedy. And I think it is Colin Farrell's best. In Bruges. Or in Bruges, depending on how you want to say it. It's also got Brendan Gleeson in it. Very, very dark comedy. If you've never seen this, I highly recommend it. So for my eye, I had to get In Bruges. J, pretty simple. A movie I can watch over and over and over again. It never gets old, and it's just a kill 'em all, kind of like Hard Boiled. But that is John Wick. You can never go wrong with Keanu Reeves. So, another steelbook, of course. But the John Wick franchise, very, very, very good. I can't wait for 4 to come out. And I do kind of rank them 1, 2, 3, I think, in descending order. The way they came out is how they've kind of been. But you can never go wrong with the first one. He really showed off his gung fu style. Just a badass Keanu Reeves. Can't go wrong with John Wick for J. K. Yes. I had to get a little rubbage on there. But K was a little hard. Really not a whole lot in K, but one of my favorite martial arts movies of all time. Stephen Chows, Kung Fu Hustle. If you've never seen it, it's basically a mocking of most martial arts movies. It's silly. It's kind of like Looney Tunes meets karate or martial arts, but it's very well done. The fights in this are awesome. The comedy in it is really funny. Stephen Chow is just a very funny person. But if you never checked out Kung Fu Hustle, highly recommend it. And it comes in as K for my alphabet. Moving on to L. So I would have put Jackie Chan in here under Legend of the Drunken Master. But this is another one of my cheats. And I cannot not include this in my alphabet. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Of course, the nice... This is only the Blu-ray. I don't have the 4K upgrade, but, you know, it's whatever. The Lord of the Rings. I remember watching this, all 3 of them consecutively. I used to work third shift. I got off in the morning. The movie theater actually opened up at 9 in the morning back in the day. and it was like $4 to get in to see movies, early morning movie time. And I did that 3 years in a row. Lord of the Rings, all three of them back to back to back. And I love the series. I've read the book. So I could not pass up as having Lord of the Rings in as L in my alphabet. Moving on to M. My favorite Disney Pixar movie ever. By far my favorite. I love the way this was done. It's an adult movie, but it's also a kid's movie. There's heart in it. There's a family element, and it's just an all-around fun movie. And that's Monsters, Inc. Cannot go wrong with this. Love it. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. M. Monsters, Inc. Now moving on to N. Jake Gyllenhaal. Had to get him in here, and this is by far probably my favorite and his best movie. Nightcrawler. Now, I mean, I would argue Donnie Darko, and there's been some other stuff that's really, really good. But Nightcrawler is that creepy thriller psycho. He's a complete psycho in this, but it's a great movie. If you've never seen it, highly recommend it. I mean, it's Jake Gyllenhaal probably at his best. But for N, I had to go with Nightcrawler and Jake Gyllenhaal. We're moving right along. Now for O. Back in I would have picked I Saw the Devil. But instead I picked In Bruges. So to fill that South Korean spot, I had to go with the classic Old Boy. Can't go wrong with this movie. I mean, it's about a movie about a man that is wronged and he seeks vengeance. There's twists, there's good action. And like I said, all-time classic. Old Boy. Coming in for O. Can't go wrong with that. I had them out of order. Almost went Q first. So P. Great cast in this movie. Covers a lot of people I've not had yet. It's also a Tarantino movie, which I've not had in here yet. And my favorite Tarantino movie of all time, Pulp Fiction. There's no way I could not have this in my alphabet list. I mean, you got Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis, almost couldn't think of his name, Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta, Ving Rhames, just a fantastic, fantastic Tarantino piece. I say probably his best. People argue with me that this and Reservoir Dogs, but I think Pulp Fiction kind of rules them out, or etches them out slightly. Anyway, I'm rambling. So P, Pulp Fiction. Q was hard. Queen of the Damned, Queen and Slim, Quick and the Dead, which I almost picked that, but there's another movie that I used to watch all the time as a kid. We used to rent it all the time. I really like it. It's got Alan Rickman, Tom Selleck, Quigley Down Under. And it's about a guy that gets hired by another guy to basically take care of some people in Australia. And he carries a big gun. And he knows how to shoot the big gun. And for Q, I couldn't think of anything better to pick. So Quigley Down Under for Q. Now here's another one of my cheats. R. Cannot go wrong with just straight up Rambo. Had to have Sylvester Stallone on the list, of course. This is the 5 movie pack. If I'm going to pick up an R, I might as well get my bang for the buck and have 5 movies. Rambo's a classic series. Of course, the first one's the best. The second one's good. Third one's 4 picks kind of back up. 5 is a pretty bittersweet ending, I believe, for the movie series. But Rambo for R. Can't go wrong with that. S. Plenty of S's. I think S, in my collection, and I would say the majority of people's collections, S is probably one of the biggest sections with the most titles. But my second favorite movie of all time, I have to have it with me, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I need to rewatch this again. I haven't watched it in a couple months. There for a while I was watching it every month. But yeah, if I want to pick an S, it's got to be Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Just a fun, cheesy love story with some action thrown in. Fantastic cast, great music, awesome movie. T. T's hard. T's got a lot of good stuff in it too. But these are two actors I don't have yet in my collection from A to Z. Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke, Training Day. Now, I would have picked Man on Fire for M, but I had to go with Monsters, Inc. on that. So this is the next best thing. I mean, arguably, Denzel is probably one of his best performances, one of Ethan Hawke's best performances, and just an all-around great movie. But Training Day comes in at T. Now, you. If I would have went back to E, I would have chose Ex Machina for my sci-fi type movie, but I didn't. I picked Eternal Sunshine. So for you, I'm going to make up for it. And little hidden gem. Now I know it gets talked about a lot lately because it's a really, really good movie, and that is Upgrade. Now, if you don't know what Upgrade is, basically this man and his wife get jumped. The wife ends up dying. He's basically paralyzed. And a guy comes along and says, "Hey, I got this thing to make you walk again." And he gets implanted with basically artificial intelligence. And boy, does the fun start after that. If you've not seen Upgrade, I highly recommend it. And it's just an all-around very, very good movie. So for my U, got to go with Upgrade. V. Almost went with Vampire's Kiss, but I already have a Nicolas Cage movie on the list. I do not have a Carpenter movie at all in my list, I believe. And this is a guilty pleasure, even though I don't really believe in guilty pleasures. I believe if you like the movie, you just like the movie. But that is John Carpenter's Vampires with, what is his name? James Wood. That's about it. There's a couple other people there, but James Wood. This is a very fun vampire movie. It's kind of out of the box for John Carpenter. It doesn't follow his traditional movies in a way. But it's a fun vampire flick. It's one of my favorites, easily in the top 5. So if you've never seen John Carpenter's Vampires, highly recommend it. But if somebody told me, hey, you need to pick a title that starts with V, this is what I would pick. Vampires. W. Ooh, almost dropped it. One of my favorite comedies of all time. Can't go wrong with this. Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler, because I don't have an Adam Sandler in here yet. I don't think I did. No, because I was going to pick Uncut Gems for you, but I decided against it. I went with Upgrade because I didn't have Ex Machina. So, The Wedding Singer. Cannot go wrong with The Wedding Singer. Just classic Adam Sandler being funny. The songs in it are great. Drew Barrymore is just adorable in this movie. And if you said, hey, Ryan, pick something with W, The Wedding Singer it would be. Another cheat. We're down to our last 3 titles. X. Not a whole lot of next. Now, I almost picked Triple X, Xander Cage, or Triple X3, Return of Xander Cage. But I had to go with this reboot. I'm not a huge X-Men fan, but this reboot really got me into it, and I really don't have any other comic book movies on here, surprisingly. But this is going to be the X-Men reboot. The X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. But the first 2 in this series is fantastic. I mean, for X, there's not really a whole lot to choose from. So, I guess I could have went with Xanadu, but no. X-Men reboot. Great series. Y. I didn't have Tombstone. Under T, I had Training Day. Tombstone's a great movie. I'm not going to pick it over Training Day, though. So, I got to get my Cowboys in here. Even though I guess you can technically consider Quigley Down Under a cowboy movie. But why? For Young Guns. Fantastic cast. Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen, Lou Diamond Phillips, Kiefer Sutherland. It's the story of Billy the Kid, basically. Great action, great shootouts, and just an all-around fun movie. Young Guns. I got to have my Cowboys in here somewhere. So this is going to be it. Rounding out Z. Again, do not have Ben Stiller in here. And to me, there's only one Z. And that's the Blue Steel of Zoolander. I love this movie. It's just stupid. It is legitimately just stupid. But it is so funny. And of course, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to life than being really, really ridiculously good looking. Derek Zoolander. So, love this movie. So that's it. That's my A to Z plus one number. If somebody said, hey Ryan, you got 27 titles you need to get right now, you can only take one from every single letter of the alphabet and one number, those would be my choices. And I think they're fantastic choices. And like I said, try to get a couple different genres in there, a couple different directors, and try to span as many actors as I could, because if these were the only movies I could take with me and they're the only movies I could watch, or if I'm trying to convince somebody that these are the 27 best movies in the alphabet, I think I did a pretty good job of that. Of course, not a whole lot of horror. Vampires, maybe. Upgrades sci-fi horror, sort of. But those are my choices. So, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks again to Huck at Huck's Pop Culture Cafe for issuing this challenge to BlueTubers and the Instagram community and the movie community. It's a fun way to look at your collection and make choices. I know a lot of people just hate what's my favorite, what's my favorite, what's my favorite. Well, these aren't necessarily all my favorite, but they're movies in each letter that I would pick first if I were to have to make a recommendation, or if I had to take one with me, or if it was a life and death, somebody had a gun in my head and says, pick the best movie in this letter. I think these would do it. So I'm going to end it here, folks. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'll link Huck down below. His Instagram, his YouTube, I'll even link that video probably where he talks about this. But until I see you again, like I always say, it's Ryan from Movies with Ryan. Have a fantastic night.